In this episode, we're talking about how to increase average view duration on YouTube. How do you get people to watch longer on your videos? Now, in other episodes here on YouTube, they'll talk about editing technique and adding B-roll or adding text effects. I would say that's only about 10% of the equation. The other 90% is what we're focusing on in this episode. So we're going to be talking about what you can do when you're recording and how you can structure your content. We're also going to look at the YouTube analytics and how that can really influence your average view duration. So let's dive right in. If you've already gotten started on YouTube and you don't feel like you're getting the results that you want, you're not getting the watch time or that average view duration, the first place I want you to look is actually YouTube Analytics. So we're looking at the Jason Schroeder YouTube channel. We're going to come over here to Analytics. We're going to come over here to Content, and we want to click on Videos. Sometimes it's hard to find, so that's how you get there. Now, this section right here is pretty cool. It's called Key Moments for Audience Retention, and you'll notice this top section says above typical intros and below typical intros. And you can see the percentage of people that are still watching after 30 seconds. So you can compare these videos. Me showing you what Jason Schroeder is doing is not going to help you, but if you go to the same report on your channel and compare your videos that are above average to your videos that are below average, again, this is just talking about the first 30 seconds, and you'll be able to see what am I doing right and what can I improve on. Now, I produce over 60 different YouTube channels, and this is a topic that everyone is interested in. How do I keep people watching longer? The biggest thing that I coach people on is what to say at the beginning of the video. And the biggest recommendation is to set curiosity hooks. So what are curiosity hooks? Well, a hook is something that's going to engage people or interest people or create curiosity. So that's why I call them curiosity hooks. In the beginning of the video, you need to let people know what they're here for or what they're in for. If you've got a 10-minute episode, let them know why they should stick around for that 10 minutes. So if you've got an outline of things that you're going to cover in your video, you can kind of introduce them to that. You can say, I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about that thing, and I'm going to talk about this thing, and then share a story. So you let people know what to expect. But then as you think about it, how can I word that in a way that creates curiosity? So you might say, well, I'm going to share my secret ingredient that makes this recipe better. Or you can say, and then I'm going to share a mistake that I made that ruined everything so that you can make sure to avoid it, right? So you're not giving away what the secret is or not telling them exactly what that step is, but letting them know what you're going to be sharing in a way that creates curiosity. Another way you could describe it is like a benefit hook. Like, what's the overall benefit of watching this video? So by the end of the video, you will understand blank. Go ahead and use that phrasing. By the end of this video, you will, and that forces you to create a benefit hook. Let me give you a little demonstration. Okay, so this is a topic that's not my expertise. I learned it from Doreen Spackman. She teaches people about health and about whole foods and natural nutrition. She taught me a remedy of how to get rid of strep throat without antibiotics. So if I were to start an episode like that and just pretend that I'm that expert, if I were to start it the wrong way, here's how I might start it the wrong way. Okay, well, if you want to get rid of strep throat without antibiotics, you need to grab some garlic, you need to grab some raw honey, you need to grab some cayenne pepper, and if you mix that together and take that, it'll get rid of your strep throat. So now let's talk about this. Maybe you thought that was a good intro, but let me do a better example and then compare the two. All right, so here's take two, doing it a better way. All right, as we dive into this topic of how to get rid of strep throat without antibiotics, first we're going to be talking about why not antibiotics, and there's some reasons why you might want to consider an alternative. Then we're going to be talking about 3 ingredients. You probably have these ingredients in your kitchen. I'm going to be showing you how to make it and how to take it, like dosage and whatnot. And then I'm going to be sharing a story of my son when he was really young. He had a high fever and he had strep throat. We used this remedy. It worked, but he had a side effect that you're going to want to know about because everyone experiences this same side effect. So let's dive right in. So hopefully you could see a difference there. I've practiced that second one with all those curiosity hooks. I've practiced that a lot, so that's why it sounded so good. But as you get better, when you outline your content, you can naturally think of, or by habit, you can think of, how could I set a hook for that? And how could I set a hook for that one? My client, Noelle Randall, in the beginning, I've been working with her for about 5 years now. For the first several months of our filming, I would suggest these curiosity hooks, and she would say, well, just tell me what to say. So I'd tell her what to say, and she would deliver it great, We'd get to the next episode, because we filmed 20 episodes in a day. We'd get to the next one and she's like, okay, what do I do again? What do I say? And I'd coach her on what to say. She got better when we filmed again 4 weeks later. And then 4 weeks after that, she was even better. Eventually, I didn't need a coach on these curiosity hooks. Today, we compete. We compete to see who delivers the best curiosity hooks. In fact, we filmed an episode where we were both competing with each other. That's why I called it competition. In many cases, she's better than I do because I'm really good at setting curiosity hooks in the beginning. She's gotten good at that, but she also repeats them and gives new hooks all throughout the video so that she can keep people engaged all the way to the end. Now let's take a moment to talk about stories. Okay, so when you're making a video and you're giving a lot of advice, you're sharing tips, you're telling people the steps to take, it's very, very helpful if you have a story that you can share, whether it's a personal story or whether it's a story of one of your clients that you've helped that's followed these steps. A story will really help people stay engaged or feel emotionally connected to the advice that you're sharing. It also makes it easier to make a longer video that's still really compelling and keeps people's attention. So as you're outlining your content, consider what story. I mean, I recommend sharing a story in every episode. Now there's other things that you can experiment with. So in this video, I recorded my screen for a little bit at the beginning, but it's mostly just talking head. So other things that you can experiment with is you can use a flip chart. Right, so you can step aside and you can draw on the flip chart so you can illustrate and draw things out easier. You can use some type of a slide presentation like PowerPoint or Keynote or Google Slides. Now make sure if you're using those, because that can actually hurt your average view duration if they're really boring, or if you have a slide that you're just reading the words off of that. Now don't do that. Those are actually the most boring presentations where the presenter just turns and they point with their pointer and they're just reading the slides for you. It's like, why don't you just print that off and send it to me? But if you have screenshots of things that you can share or visuals, like any type of an object or a prop that you can share that will help illustrate the point better, experiment with that and see if that increases your attention. You can experiment with music as well. Sometimes you can have music playing during parts of your video. Be careful if you have music throughout your entire video. Maybe you turn the volume down on it and test it. I mean, test some videos without music and some videos with music. Try different types of music and see how does it affect your retention rate. In my experience, if you do it right, music can increase retention. Now let's talk about B-roll, and there's two different types. So B-roll is footage that you're showing while the camera switches away from me, but you might still hear my voice. Say I'm talking about somebody practicing their basketball shot. So it'd switch over to a video of somebody practicing basketball, but you still hear my voice. Okay, so there's two types of B-roll. There's B-roll that you can purchase, like stock footage or something like that. Like if you're demonstrating a recipe or if you're demonstrating how to do a fix and flip, you can have your camera and you can show your food or you can show your property. So while you're talking, it can switch over to those clips of B-roll. That can be really, really helpful at keeping people engaged and keeping it interesting, because not only are you telling them, but you're showing them. So of the two types of B-roll, I highly recommend your own B-roll if you can collect it. There's something else that you want to know when talking about average view duration, and that's that different sources of traffic have different average view duration. So let's jump into Jason Schroeder's channel again. If you go into the advanced analytics, we're looking at the traffic source report. You can click right here on the second tab. And if you scroll down and look here, there's YouTube search, there's suggested, external, which is mostly Google search in this case. There's browse, there's your shorts feeds, all these different sources of traffic. Well, notice here, this column is average view duration, and you see the average for all of them. So across the channel, he's got an average view duration of 4.5 minutes here. But notice that suggested has 6.5, or external is 3 and 48. Or if you're getting a view from a playlist, that's 6:21. What's this one down here? Oh, this is video cards and annotations, 7 and 21 seconds. Or end screens is 5:09. So the different ways that people are finding your videos has a different retention rate or average view duration. So when you're looking at this stat for your channel, consider what traffic source are you focusing on and pay attention to the average view duration for that traffic source. With those suggestions on how to increase your average view duration, I want you to really understand what is a good length for a YouTube video. I've created a whole other episode on that topic. I'll link to it right here. Go watch that video now.